with bigz. Hey, everybody. It's time for breakfast with bigz. I'm sorry I'm a little bit late. I am in a hotel room in Valley Ford, California, uh, on a fun trip with my partner, and it's our 15th anniversary. So uh, I don't have my phone, I don't have my charts, I don't have a cocktail. I'm going to open up this can. It's not a can of whoop up like uh, what's his name says on the commercial. And they opened up a can of whoop up, T-Mobile. Just this can of seltzer. Rebecca is going to have a cocktail for me.
You're welcome.
What's the cocktail, Rebecca?
Put some whiskey in my coffee.
It's coffee and Maker's Mark bourbon, Bourbon, as the French say. So let's get those start and set questions into the chat. I can call up a couple of charts.
I will not have a cocktail.
She's not going to have a cocktail, folks.
Oh, no, yeah.
She's going to have a cocktail, folks. I know you were all on the edge of your seats trying to figure out whether it was or was not going to happen. Let me get this up. All right. Some of the matchups this week. Lions at Cincinnati. Huge Lions line. They have the most Vegas expected points at 30. Opponents, Bengals give up 15 rush yards per game against everybody over average. 63 passing yards per game. That is second highest total in the NFL, behind only the Dallas Cowboys. So smash all of your Cincinnati Bengals, or rather, smash all of your Detroit Lions players. So big game from Mom and Ra, the Sun God. Big game from Sam Laporta. Big games from Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. Buffalo, second highest implied points total at 29.5. Big game from Josh Allen. New England does suppress the run to the tune of negative 21 opponent rushing yards per game versus the average, but they do allow a lot of passing yards, 36 over average. Colts in Vegas. This is a hard one to handicap as a homer because the Raiders, and you know from the fantasy forecast, the Raiders have now lost their Pro Bowl left tackle to injury. So Geno Smith is going to be under fire. And that brings me to Jorge Zamudio, Seahawks D or Colts D. I am on record throughout the week on Twitter and on our shows, fire up the Indy D, Indianapolis Colts defense against the Las Vegas Raiders. No Colton Miller. They replaced him with the 124 ranked out of 140 tackle in the NFL last year in Stone Forsythe, which was a name I didn't know until Wednesday. We're in the fantasy streets. We're not really like focused on the 140 tackles that there are in the NFL. So the 124th ranked guy slipped by me. I didn't know who he was, but now all of a sudden he's the replacement for Colton Miller. So Indy's D is already good. You have Geno Smith, who's leading the league in interceptions with 7. And then you take out Pro Bowler Colton Miller and replace him with Stone Forsythe, the 124th ranked tackle out of 140. Fire up the Colts defense. I went and added them everywhere that I could in all of my redraft stuff. And I am starting them because Vegas is cooked. Seattle going against Tampa Bay. I have not heard news on Baker Mayfield. I don't know if you're... Seattle has a great defense, obviously. But is Baker playing in this game? I don't see anything that suggests he's not going to play. So Tampa against the Seattle defense. I mean, Baker could go off and we've got action in London, you guys. There's a band called Lawsuit, and they had a song that went, "Don't go to London, it's under construction." And that just entered my head. All right, Jorge's back. Do I trade Bucky Irvin, Egbuka Debo for CMC and Jameson Williams? You have Drake London and Garrett Wilson. So you're getting back CMC and Jameson Williams. You're getting Egbuka and Debo. Sorry, you're giving up Egbuka and Debo. Yeah, that's too much. Don't do that trade. See what you can do for Bucky, but hold on to Egbuka and Debo. Just get what you can from Bucky, but save those other two guys. Corey, Tiger King, pick 2: Mason Taylor, Taysom Hill, Dalton Schultz. Well, you got to go with Mason Taylor and Dalton Schultz. I mean, we don't know what we're getting from Taysom yet. Like we know it, but there have been 2 coaching changes since he got hurt. So yeah, I have Taysom. I've been picking him up in a lot of places, but I really like week 1 out of the gate off pup. I don't know if I can trust him. So yeah, and I like the increased looks that Mason Taylor is getting, and Dalton Schultz is like, that is just the worst story, right? Dalton Schultz has a breakout year in Dallas, goes to Houston, and then he pops up here and there, but he really should be an elite level tight end in the NFL, but Houston just doesn't ever use him. It's tragic. And then for the week, Baltimore is pretty bad. So Schultz is a good start. And then the New York Giants are really bad on defense too. But you can't really count on anything from Taysom yet. All right. Jorge, Daniel Jones or Hurts can't bench Hurts, right? You can't. And even though the Indy defense in this game is gonna go absolutely ballistic against a terrible Raiders line, their defense is underrated. So if we look at the line, Indy is supposed to score 27, but the Raiders defense gives up minus 14 rushing yards per game versus the average. So they have an underrated run defense, and then a better pass defense than Detroit, Buffalo, the Chargers, the Chiefs, the Seahawks, the Jets, of course. Or sorry, their passing defense is better than Cincinnati, New England, Washington, Jacksonville, Tampa Bay, Dallas, of course, because everybody's better than Dallas, Baltimore, the Niners, the Colts, Arizona. So they're right there in the middle of the pack. So Daniel Jones had a tough week last week, and he very well could have another one this week because, you know, the Raiders they have incentive right now. And Max Crosby playing out of his head. If you saw his interception last week and he had 3 tackles for loss and he's all over the field, it's not just sacks. He's not just a sack merchant. Like, he's an all-around defensive player. And I think last week got him on the list for depoy for the end of the year. So also Tyree Wilson coming. Like, that guy is he's basically here. And Malcolm Kuntz hasn't gotten started yet. Their interior D-line is pretty good. And then their cover 3 zone coverage has been decent. So I'm definitely not benching Hurts. Let's look at that matchup real quick. So we got Philly against Denver. Yeah, I don't like the matchup against Denver. Let's go to the database. It was right there. Okay. Let's go to the database. Quick, to the data. Denver Broncos, second in points to quarterbacks at 12. Raiders at 18. So I feel like the difference between Daniel Jones and Hurts is going to be made up for in the game. The team defenses, there's a difference of 6 points per game. But I think Hurts makes that up. So yeah, there's your answer. You're welcome for it being very succinct, and brevity is important. All right, and then you had another question. Start A.J. Brown or Amari DiMercado? I'm going to tell you to start DiMercado. A.J. Brown is going up against Patrick Surtain, and he has been an absolute lockdown, shutdown corner. Denver is second in fantasy points to wide receivers. Let me find that cursor. It's weird being not in my office. But they're also fourth against wide receivers and giving up fantasy points. And one of the reasons for that is Patrick Surtain, and they're going to stick Surtain on A.J. Brown, and he's going to get absolutely strapped. It's one of the reasons that I have Cortland Sutton on sit alert, because he's going up against Quinyon Mitchell, who is basically the new Patrick Surtain. They're like basically doing the same thing and just absolutely strapping guys. So yeah, I would start DiMercado. The Arizona Cardinals are out both of their top 2 running backs in James Conner and Trey Benson. So DiMercado gets he's gonna get the looks, and A.J. Brown is gonna get completely snuffed by Patrick Surtain. Let's go a little deeper though. Cardinals against Tennessee. Tennessee funnels the run game to the tune of 62% rushing yards versus passing yards. So the balance of what Tennessee allows, 62% on the ground. They give up 16 opponent rushing yards per game versus the average. And they funnel 62% of the run game. So that's a huge game for DiMercado. And then Philly against Denver. The Denver defense, minus 11 opponent passing yards per game. So yeah, Arizona is going to be good on the ground against Tennessee. Tennessee's not that good. Shout out Chev 90. Even with Brian Callahan and even with 101 Cam Ward, and even though Chev is a fan, and even with Treylon Burks on IR, Tennessee's just not. Pollard hasn't been getting it done. Ridley hasn't been getting it done. They've just been a disappointment all around. It's the Callahan family. That's what it is. And the Callahan family, as long as I'm alive, will never be successful in the NFL. If I have anything to say about it, the Callahans can get put on a bus, and that bus goes over a cliff on fire, and that would be a great day. I don't want them to die. I just want them to experience the fear of being in a bus on fire going over a cliff. So yeah, that's the Callahan family in a nutshell. They don't deserve good things, and as long as they stay in Tennessee, Tennessee won't ever get good things. And I like that. Because it's the Callahans, and they ruined my life. Dilemma facing most Americans. I'm talking about PDD, pickle deficiency disorder. You or someone you know loves pickles and suffers from PDD. Thankfully, there's someone to help. Chris's Smoked Pickles. Chris is doing big things up in Big Lake, Alaska, mainly making the best freaking pickles you've ever had. Chris's Smoked Pickles come in 3 flavors: regular, jalapeno, and my favorite, habanero. That's for the chili heads. He's also making these flavors in a jarred relish, perfect for hot dogs or other sandwiches. The smoky brine is also fantastic in a dirty martini. If pickles aren't your thing, don't worry. Chris is also smoking various cheeses and meat sticks. And he makes a trail mix. You can find Chris's Smoked Pickles on Facebook and reach out to him on Messenger, or call him or text at the number on the bottom of the screen. Use hashtag bigz in the message for a special deal exclusive to my viewers. Don't live another day with PDD. Order from Chris's Smoked Pickles now. I can't believe you took a picture of me in my underwear doing a podcast. What do you... Oh, hello. Hi, guys. I'm back. So, yeah, let's get to another couple matchups. Jane Daniels is back, so fire him up against the Chargers. Chargers defense has been locked down against the passing game, so it's going to be Jaden and his feet. Jaden running rampant. Also, you got Jackson Dart going up against the New Orleans Saints defense and Scatabo. Dart's going to get it done, especially with his feet, his legs. New Orleans has been above average against the passing game. But, you know, it's sometimes the stats can be deceiving. Sometimes it's if a team is really bad, then their pass defense gets a boost because you don't need to throw against them. You can run the ball against them, and so that skews the rushing numbers versus the passing numbers. So the Saints' run defense is the 3rd best matchup in the NFL, behind the Patriots and the Browns. I read that wrong. That's Buffalo's pass or rush defense. My number here says that the opponent funnel for rushing yards versus passing yards with Buffalo's defense, the worst matchup in football, minus 57 opponent passing yards per game versus average. Opponent rushing yards per game versus average is 39 over. And their opponent funnel is 131%. That's not right. Something went bad with this data, because you can't have 131%. I mean, you can technically, but Give it 110%. I can't. All I can do is 100% because if I give 102%, then that becomes the new 100%. Math is fun. Not as fun as philosophy or philosophizing.
Math is better than those things.
Math is better than those things. Is from the Peanut Gallery. All right. Who else is playing? Chiefs against Jacksonville. Big game for Xavier Worthy. Dallas against the Jets. Big game for Javonte Williams. Buffalo against New England. Big game for Josh Allen. Detroit against Cincy. Huge game for the Sun God Amon-Ra. Kenneth Walker is a fade in DFS. Achane is a play. McLaurin is not playing. Garrett Wilson is a smash this week. Rico Dowdle is a start. Nico's a DFS play. Texans against Baltimore, who are without Lamar Jackson. Contrary to Schultz's opinion, Alvin Kamara versus the New York Giants is a start. See, it's funny because like when you do a show with other people and they present an opinion that you don't agree with, sometimes it's really hard to bite your tongue for 20 minutes and not be like, nuh-uh. But Schultz had Kamara as a sit. And at the same time, I was looking at him as a smash. So we will see who is right, who is wrong. Is it both of us? Drake May, Stephon Diggs are fades. Buffalo's defense is really, really good against the receiving game. Let's go deeper. All right. Fantasy points allowed to wide receivers. The Vikings are the best, then Seahawks, Niners, who already played, Broncos, Chargers, Panthers. I'm trying to get to Buffalo. I don't know if you know this, but Buffalo. The Bills are middle of the pack, 17.2 points to wide receivers. Best is Minnesota with 11.8. Worst is obviously the Cowboys at 32.5. So that's a variance of 21 points. So I guess, yeah, Buffalo's better than average, 17.8. They're on the better side of that variance. So, yeah, I guess Diggs is a fade. He hasn't been doing much anyway. I don't know what's happening with Brock Bowers. Is there an update? He did not practice on Friday and was still listed as questionable, but Michael Mayer's already out, which means that if Bowers is out. Damn it. Okay. That means Ian Thomas is the starting tight end for the last. So everybody, you have 1 hour, rush to your lineups and take Bowers out. But start Jacoby Myers, start Trey Tucker, start Dante Thornton. And stay tuned because what's CMC worth? Bucky and Debo? Yeah. I would do that in a heartbeat. Like a quarter, 1/1,000,000th of a heartbeat. I'm trading Bucky and Debo away for Christian McCaffrey. It's been great. I will see you next week. And Spilled Coffee is next. Have a great Sunday. I hope you guys win.